Hi everyone! I did an interview with Sophia Lynn about chronic Epstein-Barr, also known as chronic mono. This was my first interview, so bear with me with the technical difficulties, okay? So, first of all, what is chronic Epstein-Barr?
Chronic Epstein-Barr is, it's basically mono, but it's whenever mono's been active for longer than 6 months. I'm 20 years old now, I'll be 21 in about 3 months. When I was 16, I got diagnosed with mono, and I actually have one of the very rarest cases where my mono reoccurs, comes back usually about once a year for about 3 months. And that's what chronic Epstein-Barr essentially is. It's just chronic mono all the time.
That's no fun.
Yeah, it's a total blast.
Do you know how common it is to have chronic?
To have chronic Epstein-Barr is actually extremely uncommon. My doctors were not interested in me very much when I first got mono, but whenever it turned out that it lasted longer than 6 months, I actually had doctors contacting me, asking me to come into their offices and visit with them and talk with them about how the monos affected me. And because I had lost such great amounts of weight, and my diet had changed so much, so it seems to be extremely rare.
And then, was it hard for you to get diagnosed?
Not with the original mono, no. That was not a hard diagnosis whatsoever, because they can do a mono test, simple. Getting diagnosed with chronic mono is a little more difficult just because it has to do with, blood cell count and whatnot. How we figured out that I had chronic mono was, because, with mono, the virus stays in your system regardless. But it goes dormant, but mine never went dormant. So the way we figured that out was just by doing multiple blood tests and trying multiple things to see, what would work, what changed me. We did different things in my diet, and we ultimately determined it down to my white blood cell count, and we retested for mono in a different way and showed that I had the virus active again. So it was a little bit difficult. It took about 4 weeks to diagnose my chronic mono.
So it took 4 weeks after you had mono, or was it 4 weeks after they realized something new was going on?
It was 4 weeks after the 6-month period.
And so is there any treatments for chronic Epstein-Barr?
There is actually no treatment for chronic Epstein-Barr.
Awesome.
It is. It's basically just most people have had mono, so I really don't feel like I really have to go into detail about what it's like, but it's like having a constant upper respiratory / flu / every head, nasal, and chest problem you could think of. And, I congested multiple things because of the mono. I congested, first I got pneumonia that turned into walking pneumonia. I had to withdraw from school because I was contagious for over a year, so I couldn't, be around people and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it was a really lonely year of my life, but no, there's no treatment. There is nothing you can really do. They say just take antihistamines and try and focus on that. But the thing that really stuck with me with the mono was the fatigue that lasted. And I got put on Vyvanse because they found out I had ADHD, and it helped a little bit, but it made my anxiety so bad that I couldn't function. So at the moment, there is no cure. I sleep. That's my cure.
It's a good cure. So how does it affect your life?
It's actually really, really hard. I go through things that are called flares, mm-hmm. and they're basically whenever my sickness flares up because of whatever. It's stress and trauma induced. So, I'm a server at a restaurant, and, here lately, I've had a lot of issues with working my shifts just because, I've been sick and not able to do anything. It makes life altogether very, very difficult it's hard to, guarantee that I can do anything because I can't promise that I'm going to wake up and feel good that day.
Yeah, I don't have, like, the health stability that, you know, many people have.
Exactly.
I guess you kind of talked about this, but do you have any other illnesses?
I do, that I can think of off the top of my head, and all of them have stemmed from me having Epstein Barr. And most of them are trauma induced. I have fibromyalgia, probably most prevalently. It's second most prevalent to my mono, and it's extremely painful. I have syncope and epilepsy, so those two together, I do a lot of passing out. I have narcolepsy and cataplexy, meaning that my limbs, cataplexy, my limbs stop working like they're asleep, but I can't make them work. And then narcolepsy, which is pretty commonly known, is just where I just fall asleep wherever I am. I have a severe anxiety disorder due to me being constantly scared that something's going to happen. With mono, I had a lot of vomiting, and with fibro, a lot of vomiting, and I have a lot of gastrointestinal issues because of just the past couple, all of it has kind of intertwined to create a very bad anxiety situation for myself. So, yeah, those are the things I can think of off the top of my head, that those are other illnesses that I've been diagnosed with.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's intense.
So, how do other people react to you and your illness?
It's actually really negative. I mean, just recently I had an experience at work where I had more than one coworker in less than 10 minutes make comments to me about how I don't work and I have a doctor on payroll, and, you know, I must be getting money from my parents, and, you know, none of those are true, you know. I mean, I do have a doctor order, but I don't get, you know, money from my parents or help from my parents. All the money I make is my own. And people either react one way or the other. Either almost like it's a phobia because they don't understand it, or they react with a huge amount of compassion. It really helped me to find people who understood that sometimes you just can't on a day.
Yeah.
So that was a really great part for me.
So, out of all of the symptoms that you have, what are your most challenging ones you have to deal with?
Pain.
Pain.
In my chest and in my upper limbs. I have very severe, the pain developed, you know, in the fibro, but I was having pain in the beginning of my mono, so I believe that I have fibro when I had mono. It just wasn't diagnosed. But nonetheless, it's just very painful to get up and go, to actually find the energy to get off my couch and do anything. I mean, I'm even taking school online this semester, and it's still so challenging to get my work in on time. And it's just, it's definitely pain in the fatigue. Being constantly tired, it makes me very irritable a lot.
So what have your caregivers or friends done that have been most helpful or not helpful?
I met a girl named May, like I said, my really good spoonie friend, and she has been, she knows much more about being chronically ill than I did, because I was kind of ignoring it and not accepting it. And so what she did is really help me to accept my chronic illness and not, you know, not let it define me, but understand it and live around it. And that's been the most helpful, and probably the least helpful is just the negative comments, people telling me, you know, it's all in your head. I really do often get told you do not look sick, and it's that's probably like one of the most triggering things people can say to me, is that you don't look sick or it's in your head.
Well, it's such a rude thing to say.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I know my body, and if I don't feel good, I don't feel good. And I have a wonderful boyfriend who takes care of me. We've been together for a couple of years now, and he's known about the chronic illness, and he makes me dinner. He tucks me in at night. He makes sure that I have my phone charged. He's just like essentially a real caregiver, someone who really wants to see me better and will do anything that he can to help.
So what do you do? This is a weirdly worded question. I need to figure out how to say it better. But so what do you do to stay above water, like psychologically, to not give in to the illness psychologically, I guess?
Well, I will definitely say my antidepressants help. But I would honestly have to say it's probably my religion. I believe that I was put here, and I believe I was put in this circumstance to understand people in this circumstance and to help people in this circumstance. And I think that, that God is wanting my life to be a testimony, and I think he's using me. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes you really do just want to give up. I mean, I've had so many times where I've just cried and cried that I'm just ready to give up. I've had times where I've tried to give up and it didn't work. And I've actually attempted suicide 3 times, and none of them have worked, and that's a miracle in itself. But it's seeing Corey, my boyfriend, talking to my mom for another day, thinking about how my mom is my best friend, and I don't think she could function or ever live the same if I wasn't here. And so that keeps me afloat. She keeps me afloat most of the time.
So when you got diagnosed, how did that make you feel? Like, were you relieved, or were you upset about the chronic nature or something like that?
When I got diagnosed with the chronic Epstein Barr, I was surprised. I hadn't been sick in years, and I mean literally like 5 years. I hadn't even had like a flu. And so it was shocking for him to say, you have an extremely rare case of chronic Epstein Barr, and explain that the symptoms would stay with me for life. And in that moment, it felt a little bleak, knowing that I was going to feel this way for the rest of my life. But I was also relieved, like you said, just to have an answer. Just like when I got diagnosed with fibro, just to have an answer it really does validate you. And it validated me whenever he told me. So I would definitely say both.
So this is kind of a hard question. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. So, but what was your life like before your illness? Like, did you have different dreams? Did you?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm okay with talking about it,
okay.
Just because, like I said, I've come to terms with where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think where I've come is better than where I planned to be. I was actually engaged to a man. Even though I was very young, we've been together for a very long time, and I was engaged to a man in the Marine Corps, and I actually got mono from him because that was how I found out he had been cheating on me, and my life was active. I was being scouted by colleges for volleyball. And volleyball is my favorite sport in the world, and I will literally risk the pain to play, any day. I just love volleyball, and I used to also do competitive cheer, so I was a very active, I had a very sporty lifestyle, and I never was tired. It was a complete life change. It was everything that I am now is what I was not then, but it's helped me because, I was very cocky and very rude and very self-centered, and I feel like being ill has humbled me in a way. So that's what my life was like before. It was a party.
All right, thank you so much. That's it with the questions. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I put out videos every single week, and once a month I put out a video where I interview someone just like this one. If you would like to be the person that I interview next month, please leave a comment down below or email me at theunbrokenshannios@gmail.com. My name is Shannon Schneider, and that was Sophia Lynn, and we may be sick, but we are not broken.